Good afternoon. I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the January 3rd, 2018 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Here at the beginning of the year, we're doing a series of kind of new start, new plan, new program episodes in celebration of the new year. Yesterday, we looked at the little book of James in chapter 2, verse 17, that famous verse that a lot of people quote, that faith without works is dead. And we were talking about the fact that it really goes hand in hand, that out of the abundance of your faith, your works will speak. And that yes, sometimes people who are at different stages in their Christian journey will have better works, more works than others. There's no question about that. But that is not what God judges us on. God judges us on our faith. But people are not God. They can't really know what you truly believe and what's in your heart. So all they can possibly evaluate you on is what you appear to be on your works, whether that's works of action of the body or actions of the mind or actions of the of what you speak. And so in order to have credibility with them and to be a good ambassador on behalf of the gospel, we need to make sure that our works are consistent with our actions. It's in that vein that I wanted to talk about how interesting it is that, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And people who talk about that the Bible is not relevant to their everyday lives are just not reading it very closely. Over and over and over, especially in the Old Testament, God talks to the people of Israel, his people, as having what he calls the double-minded. And he asks them repeatedly, how long will you be double-minded? It's the question, for example, that Joshua posed to the people when he said those famous lines that you see written everywhere on plaques and on cups and all, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. How long will you be double-minded? Make a decision. Decide what you're going to do. What are you going to believe? Are you indeed going to be a follower of Jesus Christ, or are you not? Make up your mind. Now, the reason that God continues to ask this question in such bold terms and advises us not to vary between, and have like a backup plan, but just go whole hog with whatever it is that you've decided, is this. There are so many popular stories right now that talk about how difficult it is to be double-minded. Look at, for example, The Last Jedi. It's very big, of course. The Star Wars saga continues to be after all these years. What was Kylo Ren's problem? What was his grandfather's, Anakin Skywalker's, problem? They were conflicted. They had a foot in both camps. In their case, it was the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. And it's interesting that when people appeal to them, they talk about, you're in conflict. I can feel the conflict within you, says Rey to Ben Skywalker, to Ben Solo, also known as Kylo Ren. And you remember when Mark Hamill, that's Luke Skywalker, said that to his father, Darth Vader, I can feel the conflict within you. Think about in the Harry Potter series, Voldemort, he splits his soul. And Dumbledore says about that, what a terrible thing that is, that to be divided, to have your soul and your spirit divided is a very, very difficult way to live. Even going all the way back to the 1870s and 80s, Robert Louis Stevenson wrote the great masterpiece, Mr. Jekyll, or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And he talks about how trying to split oneself is so difficult. Now, of course, that was fiction, but let's talk about something that's not fiction. Spies that are double agents, that have to live double lives, pretending to be one thing and actually being another, It is known that that is the most difficult assignment that you can ever have. How about the people that you hear about in the news that are trying to live two separate lives, sometimes even with different families, different spouses and children in other cities? People that are trying to say one thing and they're living another way are conflicted. It is a terrible way to live. Man was meant to live consistent with his beliefs, was meant to be an integrated whole. And anytime you find yourself saying one thing or believing one thing and acting in another way, you are bringing stress into your life. And the Lord knows that because he made you that way. And so he says, as I say to you on this first week of a new year, how long will you be double-minded? Make a choice. Make a choice for the light side of the force. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Bye-bye.